What is it like living in Mexico?
I mean, I told you. I mean, this is the purpose of this episode is to share what it's like as a Mexican living in Mexico, not some gringo living in Mexico, but somebody's life. Like, what is it really like to live in Mexico?
Okay, we can talk about this.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's something
Yes,
you'd like to do? You're not nervous or anything?
a little bit, but it'll be okay.
Okay. Let's jump right into this then. Bringing you under the sombrero from the eyes of an American and a Mexican, sharing a fresh perspective of Mexico.
Hello, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm disappointed that you didn't say, "Hey Andrew" or "Hello Andrew."
Sorry,
Como
sorry.
it's like my favorite part of like us introducing ourselves in the beginning, like saying, "What's up, man? What's up? What's
What's
going
up,
on?"
Andrew? How are
hey,
you doing,
hey,
my
hey.
friend?
all is good here. All's good. I can't complain. How about you? How's things been going?
I'm good. I'm good. Just happy or I'm excited for another episode with you
Why are you so excited?
because this is a new journey and I want to create this project.
I think it's something really cool that we're creating in the process, and the new things both of us learned through this. Because I'm sure we're gonna learn a lot of new things around Mexico itself. Having everybody and all of our friends on here, so I'm definitely excited too, no doubt.
Yeah, we feel the same. And I want you to be here in Mexico so we can go to many places around the city or to some states or cities here in Mexico.
I mean, if that's the plan, you already know I'm down. It's just a matter of time with the pandemic and everything. I think maybe at the start of next year, I'll definitely be there, and we can finally start recording in person and know each other in person. But let's get into this. So I know you were born in Mexico City, but did you grow up in Mexico City?
Yeah, I was born here in Mexico City, but I grew up in another place. It's really close to Mexico City. It's the state of Mexico.
You were born in Mexico City. Did you ever actually live in Mexico City at some point, or did your parents just move you to the state of Mexico right away? Was this the closest hospital, or
Well, the thing here is that my family was living really close to Mexico City, and there was a hospital where my mom she was working and so it was easier that I was born at that place. That's the reason. But this is so close. Sometimes you don't see the border between the city and the state.
I'm sure a lot of people don't really know that. Like, if, as you know, there's 32 states in Mexico, and then there's an actual state in Mexico called, if you translate it, Estado de Mexico, the state of Mexico. Sounds a little redundant, but that's kind of like how it is, no?
Yes, that's right. There is a state. In another place, it's really close to Mexico City. It's the state of Mexico.
And what was it like growing up in the state of Mexico? How long were you there for approximately?
Well, I was living in Mexico, well, in the state of Mexico for around, yes, 8 years. No, I lived in the state of Mexico for 8 years.
Are
Then
you sure?
yes, I'm sure, and totally sure. Then my dad, my brother, and I, we moved to the state of Veracruz, to that town that I've been talking a lot, Coatepec.
Okay, so the state of Mexico a bit with you. What was it like growing up there? What things were there to do? What did you do in your childhood?
Well, in that place, all my family, my extended family was living there. My cousins, my uncles, aunts,
Mhm.
and it was so great, or it was amazing that I had the opportunity to, to go every weekend and it had fun with all my relatives. And also there was park over my house, and I could go there. And when I was little, my parents they took me to some places in Mexico City, some museums, some festivals, to the Zocalo, Chapultepec, and other places. So it was a good. I had a good childhood.
I would definitely agree with that. From the things that you're telling me, it sounds like you have like a bag full of good memories and everything through your entire childhood. Would you say like what would you say like is your favorite memory? Was there something that sticked out to you like, man, oh man, like this one time I did this and it was amazing, like something I'll never forget.
Well, I remember that because my brother, he's a year older than me. We
Hmm.
used to play a lot when my grandma took us to church. So
Canicas? Did you play canicas?
we play canicas, we play many things, but all the time my brother and I we were playing a lot. And so I can remember playing soccer. I think Americans you say soccer instead of football.
Hmm. The
And
British say football though.
yeah,
Football.
football. Yeah, but I can remember that
Uh,
and having fun. And also during weekdays, I was going to school, and on weekends, I was excited to go to discover something new. I remember a festival or a show, an event called Disney on Ice.
did you perform? Were you in the show?
Unfortunately, not. I couldn't because I was so young.
You didn't try to sneak on the ice or anything? That didn't work.
I wish I could, but I
Maybe you weren't thinking like that back then, were you?
maybe who knows. But I remember those times because my mom and my dad they took us to some places in the city. Well, we
Uh-huh.
say the city to Mexico City.
It's pretty neat that you had these experiences. I don't know how long Disney on Ice has been around, but we have this Disney on Ice here. I've never been to it, but I heard it's a good experience and everything. Did you have many opportunities to go to Mexico City like per month? Was it something normal like you would go like once a month because you told me like you went to Castillo de Chapultepec and different places. Was it normal just to go pretty often or
Maybe all weekends,
oof.
my parents took me to Mexico City to Chapultepec, Castillo Chapultepec, and other places. But
I'm jealous.
yeah, it was so fun because I can remember that because everything was new for me at that moment.
Especially as a kid and everything, like it's like there's so much to see, so much to explore, and new adventures to be had every weekend. It's just like, all right, what are we gonna see this weekend? And it's like something really fascinating, something really exciting to be like, okay, I want to see something new this week. I don't know what it is. Was it something like your parents were like, this week they didn't tell you like what it was gonna be? It was like a surprise, or did you know what you were gonna see like that weekend?
We usually don't know. Well, I usually don't know. They just say, "Let's go to some place," and I was amazed for that, an experience that I remember the most. And now I can remember that the first time when I went to the circus was like magic for me, seeing some animals because, as you know, living in a big city, we don't have the opportunity to see animals or elephants, giraffes.
No, I understand that. Where was this circus actually held? Where did you go to see this?
Yeah, there was an establishment that has or that had a big field, and in that place the circus was.
Oh, so you want me to answer? I thought you were gonna say something more. All good. Okay. Kind of like moving on from the circus. I would love to talk to you about the circus the whole time, but I think we need to cover other things. Did you ever feel
Come on,
like
I wanted to share you something about my childhood and you don't care about that.
what do you want me to say?
No, no, no.
I can start
I'm
playing with
angry
my
now.
you want to go? We can stop now. It's okay.
No, because we are here to share something with our listeners. So let's
And
move
with me.
on. No, not with you, with our listeners and me, they and I.
All right. I think you can just talk with yourself then. You don't need me here.
Okay, hello Zemei, how are you doing? I'm good. How are you? I'm good.
That sounds like the same person to me. There's no differentiation
Hello,
between the two.
man. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Did you ever feel like it was dangerous growing up in the state of Mexico? Was there ever a time that you're like afraid or you didn't feel safe?
I think because I was little, I didn't see all the aspects of living in a big city or in a big place. Sometimes my mom and my dad, they told me be careful when we go out. They gave me some advice,
Some tips
some tips, but
from Manolo.
but I don't remember being unsafe when I
Mhm.
was young.
So would you say that's generally like during the time you grew up was it wasn't something you needed to think about? Is this something just be careful in what you did? What were like some of the tips that your parents told you? Do you remember?
Yes, I think all Mexican parents, they usually say to their kids, don't talk with strangers. Be
Hmm.
careful when you are walking on street, something like that. And because there is this public transportation called el metro,
Hmm.
so it's a comment that because you are moving into the transportation and you are going into the metro, but sometimes because there is a lot of people and some people they don't go inside the the train or the metro, and so they told me if we go into the metro and you can be there, don't move, we'll come back for you. And I was afraid. I think I wasn't afraid of living in Mexico City, but I was afraid being missing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's stupid, but that happens. Well, that was a fear that I had.
I think that's kind of like a common fear that we all have when growing up, getting separated from our parents when we're only a few years old. That I feel like that's probably a lot of kids' worst nightmare to have something like that. I know you told me there was a story though. It's a quite interesting story. I think our everybody would like to hear. I wouldn't mind hearing it again.
Do you really want to hear that story?
Why are you asking me? It's your story. Why would you ask me if you want to share your own story? Does it that doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Come on, let it out, man. Spit it out. Say it,
I'm
don't spray it.
I'm getting afraid now.
Psh.
Yeah,
How old are you? 84 years old?
no. Yeah, now I'm 84, but at that
Keep drinking
moment
water, man.
I,
It's
I
working.
was I was 8 years old. Eight,
Uh-huh.
10, 10, 10 years old. I was living in, well, I was visiting my grandma in the state of Mexico, and it was at night. I was watching a movie with my brother, and suddenly rang the phone, and
Was it the
so
hash slinging slasher?
no,
Oh,
it was a sound like. ring, ring, a Mexican sound. And I said, good. That means bueno. Well, I just say hello, and
Uh-huh.
and a mysterious voice said, "Is there your mom or your dad, kid?"
How did the voice sound?
Like something
Was it
in
deep or?
a deep voice in this way.
Uh-huh.
Hey, kid, is there your mom? Is there your dad?
Uh-huh.
And I said, who's calling? And they said, I want to talk with your father or your mother. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
give me a second. But they immediately said, no, uh, be, pay attention, kid, because in the next few days, somebody of your family is gonna be kidnapped.
Mm. Oh man.
And I was, oh my god, I, I didn't know how to react. I was in shock, and I didn't know what to do, so
Sure.
I'm getting afraid now
Uh-huh.
because I can remember that moment. And so I was thinking a lot about this. I immediately ran to see my father and my
Sure.
mom, and I told them just what had happened seconds ago, and they said, nah, don't be worried. It's just somebody who's trying to frighten kids.
That night, do you even remember? I mean, obviously I think we would all do the same thing around that age. We'd tell our parents right away and when it just happened. That's a pretty traumatic experience to have, I would say. And in addition to that, like, were you even able to sleep that night, or how long did these fears last for, you think? Did it like affect you for a long time, or?
Yeah, I remember that that night I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, and in the next few days, all the time with my father and my mom, they go outside home. I was afraid. So I was in shock because I was thinking, no, that thing that that voice said is gonna happen today.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a really bad experience that I lived through when I was a kid.
It's totally understandable. I don't think all of us have experiences quite like that one, and obviously you can still remember it quite clearly after. I won't mention how many years after, since you're always a little bashful about your young age of 84. But you moved at some point, no? Like you didn't stay your whole life in the state of Mexico, no? You moved. When did you move?
Yeah, we moved to Coatepec when I was 8 years old.
But you were 10 when you were in Mexico.
Yeah, well, it was because I was living in Coatepec, but we usually visited my grandma.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I when that happened, I didn't want to go back to or to come back to Mexico
That was
City.
it. That was
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Get
I
me
want
out of here.
I want to stay in Coatepec. And I was afraid coming back to Mexico City for some years, I guess.
Was your brother afraid during this time too, or was it just you?
It was just me.
Uh-huh. Did he
Yeah,
ever like tease you or anything, or was he cool about it?
he didn't care.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Was it hard moving to Coatepec? I know you didn't have the most traditional life after you moved to Coatepec.
Yeah, there was a big change at that moment because I was living in with all my family, all my extended family was nearby or near my house. And moving to Coatepec, it was completely different because nobody was living there. Just my father, my brother, and I. My mom, she stayed in Mexico City or in the state of Mexico because she was working.
Hmm.
And so it was different because he had no friends, he had no family in Coatepec. And it was
Estuvo cañón.
yeah, I have no words to describe how it was.
It was pretty difficult, basically what I just said, as you know. No, I can imagine that that kind of like shakes up the life that you had before, like being able to visit Mexico City and going to the city and going to like a completely different state on the other side of Mexico near the Gulf of Mexico is a completely different experience. What was the reason for moving
Plus
to Coatepec?
without
What?
my mom.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
The rock of the family.
Right.
Uh-huh. What was it? What was the reason? Why did you guys move to Coatepec?
Because my family, well, my dad, he wanted to have a better life without pollution, without all these people that are all the time in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
And we have we had a house in Coatepec, so they decided that it was gonna be a good option to move to a better place like Coatepec, which is a small town, so calm. Basically, that's why.
He more or less wanted to like have you guys settle down, like have somewhere like that you could say like more sustainable to live in, kind of thing.
I guess, yes, we can say that.
So how long? I mean, it probably took a lot of dedication and everything and self willpower for your mom to stay working in Mexico and everything. The state of Mexico, sorry. What is like how long did she do that for, and how often did you actually get to see your mom?
For around 3 years, she was
Oof.
working in well, she was living in the state of Mexico, but she was working in Mexico City.
Hmm.
But every single weekend, she was traveling to Coatepec to to stay with us for around 3 years.
That's crazy. She took like would that be like 5 or 6 hour bus ride every weekend to visit you guys or
Basically, yeah, because she was traveling at night on
mm-hmm.
on Fridays night from Mexico City to Coatepec, and she was coming back on Sundays night, just for around 5 6 hours.
Did you I know that's probably not the best question, but did you understand like what was going on at that point of your life? Like, did you kind of understand why your mom was doing these things, or was it just kind of all confusing for you at this time in your life?
I think because I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what was happening
Mm-hmm.
then, but I was sometimes I was angry because I wanted to be with my mom. I wanted to be with my Chilangos friends.
What are
And
chilangos? Remind our friends again.
Chilangos?
Uh-huh.
Chilango means a person who lives in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. When did you like realize like wow, I can't believe like the things like my mom did for us like growing up. When did it like hit you and be like, wow, this is amazing what the sacrifice that she made and everything.
Yeah, I think at some point in my life when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, I could see that, and then I understand what my mom she was doing, because it wasn't okay traveling all weekends. Sometimes I'm so tired
Hmm.
just doing nothing here in Mexico City, so I can't imagine traveling all the year to see your kids.
Right. Is that pretty typical of like a Mexican family to do? Have either the husband or the wife working somewhere far away and having to travel back home?
Mm, maybe not.
No,
Maybe not.
maybe just like an hour if you're working in the city, or hour, 2 hours, or
It's not so typical. I think now just living in big cities, traveling for 1 2 hours is normal, but I don't like that style of life. I prefer just taking some minutes from my home to my job.
clarinetes, cuates. Okay, very good. I think that pretty much wraps up today's episode. Thank you for letting me hear like a little more in depth to your childhood and everything, about things that some things I already knew, but some things were completely new to me. And I think it's good to share these things and kind of give everybody like a well more or blah, can't talk, a more well-rounded experience of what it's like living in Mexico.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else?
No, I just want to say that it's fine sharing my life with you and all our friends that are listening to this episode. And yeah, and thankful that you for having this time with you.
I can't agree with you more. It's definitely very insightful, and no, I appreciate this opportunity you're giving us by sharing what it's like as a young man living in Mexico. But you can follow us at all social medias at Under the Sombrero. And that's it for today's podcast. I'm Andrew.
From
We don't say that. That doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
No. I'm Andrew
And I'm Zemei from Mexico.
from Mexico. Goodbye.
Bye.